Okay. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And Lord willing, this will be a quick one. Okay, straight to the point. But as you can see in the title, now we're talking. Hurry up with it. Okay, hurry up with it. And that's the spirit I'm literally word. Hey, that's yeah, yep, that's it. Brother said he's reading the article right now. Before I even went live. Um, but yeah. So as you can see in front of you, it says the U.S. and this is dealing with the CBDC, okay, which we believe is going to lead to the MOTB. If you've been watching for a while, you understand the acronyms. Um, but as it says, U.S. Treasury introduces CBDC or Central Bank Digital Currency Working Group discusses potential routes for digital dollar. And amidst all these other countries that are very quickly adopting these CBDCs, these central bank digital currencies, like you have the digital yuan and so on and so forth for their currencies. I think Nigeria is definitely one of them, but there's a lot of countries that are adopting it, testing out pilot programs and basically running with it. But for some reason, you have the U.S. that is sort of lagging behind. All right, but keep in mind that because America or Babylon, remember, is the whore that sitteth upon many waters, and the world looks at what Babylon does. So, of course, now nations are starting to wise up, but there's still that effect over there. And so, ultimately, when the U.S. finally comes out with their CBDC and they start moving with it, at that point, that's going to be the basic norm. All right, at that point, majority of the countries are going to be with it, and once the U.S. gets on board, then it's pretty much like, all right, now let's really get things going into the next step or the next phases, because as we're going to read in this article, they mentioned that this CBDC can take, or this digital dollar can take different forms. Um, so it says here the Treasury's statements explore the potential forms and implementation of an American CBDC. So it goes on. It says the U.S. Department of Treasury has released comments from Undersecretary for Domestic Finance Nellie Lang on the next steps in the future, or the next steps to the future of money and payments. Okay, and we know that this is tied heavily to the prophecy in Revelation 13, because Revelation 13 and 16, 17 is dealing with the MOTB, and that's dealing with payments. That's dealing with transactions. It explicitly mentions it. Ask yourself why was that the number one thing that's highlighted when it comes to the talk about the MOTB? Because that's what the apostle John saw in the 17th verse. He explicitly says that no man might buy or sell save he that had it. So if you didn't take this thing, you wouldn't be able to buy or sell. So that's dealing with what? Payments, money. And that tells you that right now everybody has the potential to buy and sell. There's no actual restrictions as the one that is mentioned in Revelation 13 and 17, because you can either pay through cash or card or damn near Bitcoin or whatever, your phone, Apple Pay. Anybody can make transactions. But that tells us then that according to the vision that the apostle John saw, there's going to have to be some change in our monetary system that will then introduce these restrictions to say that if you don't have such and such, or if you don't meet such and such requirements, then you cannot make a purchase, or only those that meet such and such requirements can make a purchase. So that means they're going to have to introduce a new way and phase out the old way. It says addressing CBDCs, and that's why when they talk about the future of money and payments is very important. You got to, that's when your eyes got to pop open and your ears got to, hone in and listen. So it says addressing CBDCs and the approach the American government is taking to their potential implementation, and they're gonna do it. It's all about timing. They deal with gradualism. So they slowly, first they introduce, we have to look at, the Fed is looking at whether it's going to be beneficial or not. Then they came out with a report months later and said, oh, it can benefit. Then they say, oh, other countries are doing it, and we might get left behind in the dust, which is going to be a detrimental. And then now they're saying, well, okay, now if we were to do it, what would that look like? How would we do it? What are the policies and the benefits and the so on and so forth? So it's one step at a time, but the point is they're walking to a certain direction. Whether you take 5 steps at a time or 1 step at a time, you're still going to one direction. You're going to end up in one location, and that is the MOTB. So it says the original Treasury report released in September 2022 described the formation of a CBDC working group that would advance work on a CBDC. Lang's remarks confirmed the formation of that group. One of the central tasks for the CBDC working group is to complement the Fed's work by considering the implications of a US CBDC for policy objectives for which a broader administration perspective is helpful. To give you a sense of how we are pursuing this work, I will describe our approach to thinking about CBDC options, the policy questions we are attempting to answer, and the kinds of recommendations we hope to develop. So they're making it seem that they're figuring out the groundwork and the legalities and so on and so forth, but they already that's not a problem for them. Okay. But what it is a part of the steps that they have to take outwardly and openly. So they're letting people know, hey, these are the steps we're taking, this is where we're at, this is what we're looking at, this is what we're thinking about. And behind the scenes, they already have it all laid out. Okay, but they have to move in phases. So it says highlights from this description include a look at the potential forms that a CBDC could take, the potential for a separate retail and wholesale CBDC, and the possible core features of the CBDC. So that'd be interesting, right? What is it gonna entail? If you have this, what are the perks? What are the pros? What are the cons? It says also discussed is the idea that a potential US CBDC, a potential US CBDC, if one were created, would best serve the United States by being intermediated, meaning that the private sector would offer accounts or digital wallets to facilitate the management of CBDC holdings and payments. So in essence, instead of going straight from point A to point C, you would implement a point B in there in the middle, right? So you have you have to go through some channel before you can get access to the using the CBDC. So some sort of middle ground, right? Which they're saying. So the private sector would offer, like it says, accounts or digital wallets, which kind of makes sense if you think about it in the context of if you have a digital dollar, which is digital money, then it only makes sense for you to have a digital wallet. Now, if you think about it, if you're mimicking the physical aspect of it, but in a digital sense, then it's likely that the digital wallet is what would contain your digital currency, also your digital ID, also your digital social security number, driver's license. Because if you look at how a real wallet works, that's what happens, right? You have your credit card, debit card, cash, ID. You know, if you're going somewhere, you need your social, you got it in there. All of those things, it's all in your wallet. It's not in your dollar. It's in your wallet. But I mean, we have to watch and see how they're going to do it. But it only makes sense that if they provide a digital wallet, it would have the capability of storing not just your digital money, but other things as well. And it would all be sort of centralized into one place. So, what form would this digital wallet that the private sector could provide look like? Well, let's see. We know that you have a company like Walletmore, for example, Walletmore. Oh man, that have come out with the C. They're it's pretty much open. People can go and purchase it and so on and so forth. Okay, but as this becomes more mainstream, they're gonna though companies like that are gonna be just one of many. And the one thing they're all gonna have in common is it's kind of like you have jeans, right? You have a pair of jeans. You have jeans from Levi, jeans from American Eagle, jeans from I don't know True Religion, jeans from another store, but they're all jeans. They're just different brands. So in essence, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you see the same thing, right? You see, at the end of the day, they all gonna be dealing with the actual C-hip, but you might have a company like Walletmore, you might have a company like Synchron that put it inside of your head, right? Yeah, Designer Karagma, you know, so just like that. But like I said, let's see. Like today, you have credit cards, right? You may have a Macy's credit card, you may have Capital One, you may have Sears, you may have Chase, right? But it still functions the same. It's still a credit card. So it says, continuing on, where we at? Where we gonna go? Uh Salaki, I think I lost my place. Okay, yeah. So it says here, meaning that the private sector would offer accounts or digital wallets to facilitate the management of CBDC holdings and payments. Now, what I'm interested to see is, you know, what avenue they use to say why it's more better, because more than likely they might start off with your phone, right? It's an app on your phone or some feature on your mobile device or something along those lines. But um what avenue to go on to say, oh, now we want to switch from, because they've already said they're going to do it, but now we want to switch from outside technology, your phone, your this, your that, to um subdermal technology. So actually putting planting a C hip or into your body. That'd be interesting. We know it's coming. So let's see. And that's sort of a drastic move. So will they need some some state of emergency event? Will they need some major event in order to push such a steep thing on the people? Will they introduce it as an option and then use a major event to mandate it? I mean, who knows? Let's see. Right. So it says, in terms of technology, a retail CBDC might involve a different architecture compared to a CBDC that is intended solely for wholesale use. In his piece for Bitcoin magazine, so this goes to show you that this CHIP, this MOTB, it's not something light. It's not a small thing. It's a big deal, and it's going to have many working parts. It says Mark Goodwin described. Let me get some water real quick. Slack All right. How Bitcoiners may have spent so much time looking for CBDCs. We missed the private entity stablecoin monster right in front of our eyes. And it's kind of like, oh, well, we've seen how things are going with Bitcoin and so on and so forth. We're gonna do it the right way. The Treasury's released remarks suggest that a CBDC may well come on the backs of private entities with major incentives to participate. The United States has gotten, and we know how that works, the United States has gotten serious in regards to its consideration of a CBDC. And really it's just a matter of time. It says, and all this just as legislation has been introduced by Republican lawmakers that would prohibit the Federal Reserve from issuing a CBDC directly to anyone. Now, there was also something, I think, I forgot what state it was. Maybe it was more than one state. And they introduced this, they're trying to get this bill saying that employers cannot um, micro CHIP their employees, which at the end of the day, don't be fooled. There's something called controlled opposition, and there's a tactic that these elites use, which is sort of in a sense, any publicity is good publicity when it comes to introducing something to the minds of the people and desensitizing them. Meaning, you can introduce talk about the CHIP in the workplace in any form. They can do it positively. They can say, "Oh, Con Alabama, Con the water." They could say, "Oh, like they did with Three Square Market. Oh, there's a company here that's that thinks it's a good idea to micro CHIP their employees," and just to put it out there and start getting that into people's minds because now they've heard it. Now it's somewhere in their minds. It's not some brand new shock, right? They can do that, or they can say, "Oh, we're introducing a bill that makes sure that no employers can micro CHIP their employees." Why such a specific kind of bill? Because the point is not necessarily what the bill is going to do, but the fact that the talk of these things is out there and is going to enter people's minds, and they're gonna see, wow, this is really becoming like a reality. Like there's even a bill to try and stop this from happening. And then you have a balance to everything. So it's all a part of pushing that notion out there, like they did with the whole. I believe this is was this when Trump before Biden came into power. They were talking about the mail in voting, not doing in person voting and so on and so forth. And it's one of those things that is like it comes out of nowhere, but they slowly throw it out into the air, test the pulse of the people, and then they throw out some other piece of information on it. Oh, Trump said he doesn't trust this, that, so he wants to do it this way. But the point is, they're throwing out that information to test the pulse of the people to desensitize their minds. So next thing you know, there's a big deal concerning mail-in ballots, and you like at one point this wasn't even considered something we would do. Okay, but let's go back to the article. So it says, although this bill may not have much of a chance of passing, notable is the specific angle of preventing a federal CBDC, potentially leaving those intermediated by private parties. The remarks also describe how a CBDC is one of many directions for the government to take, another being real time payment systems. The Federal Reserve, according to Lang, has indicated that it expects to launch the FedNow service this year, which will be designed to allow near instantaneous retail payments on a 24/7 365 basis. And you notice all of this is in the direction of what? Payments. Using an existing form of central bank money, i.e., central bank reserves, as an interbank settlement asset. This would differ from a CBDC in that it would utilize an existing form of central bank money versus the new form of a CBDC, the new form a CBDC would introduce, in addition to a potential new set of payment rails. But this is all part of it. They throw it out there. They give you the direction they want to go in. Then they throw the red herrings and throw the other stuff out there to basically give you a nice blob. But at the end of the day, it's pretty obvious that regardless of whether they say we want to go with, we want to also have a whatever they called it, the an alternative to the CBDC, they're still going to have some form version of a CBDC. Now it says, regardless of the path that the Treasury takes, new payment systems are seemingly on the horizon for the United States. Yes, they are, buddy. Okay. So we're at that time. And like I said, it's one step at a time, slowly but surely. Okay, slowly but surely. Real quick, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 7, verse 14. And this is why the scriptures say we have to watch, okay, because they take these slight moves. But look, take a turtle, for example. A turtle, if you want to watch a turtle travel from, I don't know, from New York to New Jersey, ain't nobody gonna sit there and look at a turtle crawl slowly make its way from New York all the way. First off, if you in a car, that shit takes a minute. You're gonna watch a turtle try to do it. But guess what? If you are not watching and you forget about the turtle, before you know it, as the saying goes, before you know it, that turtle is gonna be in Jersey. Because even though it's taking very slow steps, guess what? It's still moving. It's still moving. And all it needs is time. Because in an hour, in a 2 hours, in a day, in maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in a month. But either way, it's going to get there. And that's what these devils are doing. So you may say, oh, yeah, they haven't even started creating a CBDC. And you talking about, but guess what? It's another step. It's another step. It's another step. And before you know it, it's going to be out, and it's going to be before your eyes. And guess what? That CHIP, that MOTB comes. It's not just gonna come and say hello, hi, bye. No, it's gonna come with temptation. Revelation 3:10, the hour of temptation, and that's gonna be a very very major time. They gotta keep that in mind as well. This is Psalm 7:14. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood, which is the nature of this devil. He made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. And the pit is like a trap, right? When Joseph's brethren envied him, what did they do? They made a pit and they threw him in there. But in essence, a pit is a trap. And that's what this devil does. He lays snares with his words and his contracts and his propositions and his laws and his new features that he introduces. But at the end of the day, according to prophecy, the ditch that he's digging is only looking good because it's in line with prophecy. But guess what? Prophecy and Esau are going to there's going to come a fork in the road. They're going to be aligned. It's going to be one path for them to go ahead, for them to get the people, for them to issue the CBDC, for them to bring out the MOTB, for them to persecute the saints. It's all going to be in line. But then there's going to be a fork in the road where they think that they're going to, okay, now we're going to gain that world domination and kill off everybody that's not with it and do this. But that's going to be the fork in the road where prophecy is going to say, all right, it was fun knowing you. Now I'm out. I got to go the other way, the way where Yahushua comes back, the way where the Lord lifts up a standard, the way where the elect get delivered, the way where you get destroyed, and then you get thrown in shackles. Okay, not into the everlasting fire though. All right, but in essence, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a split. Okay, and so that pit that Esau is digging of trying to come up with this plan to gain everybody and micro seed, guess what? It's gonna fall right back upon them because it's gonna fail. And I believe that's also in the book of Job, the 20th chapter. It says, verse 16, his mischief shall return upon his own head. Yeah, because they're not going to be successful in their dealings. They're going to get to a point where it looks like they're accomplishing it and they're going to be successful, but then the Lord is going to flip that on them. It says, his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. I will praise the Lord Yahweh according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Yahweh Most High. Yeah, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to be the author of this reversal or this counter on Esau. So the Lord is going to put the spirit on him to dig the ditch, and then the Lord is going to throw his ass in there. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 126. It says, it is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law. And that's what we're seeing. The Lord is working. He's reviving his work in the midst of the years. And it's only gonna get turned up more and more and more. It's a gradual process, even on the right-hand side. But there's only gonna be more and more spiritual things. Prophecy is gonna be screaming louder and louder, and things are gonna get spookier and spookier. And at that point, you're gonna see that the need, not the need for speed, but the need for the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is gonna grow because more questions are gonna be asked, unexplainable things are gonna be happening, and people are gonna they're gonna yearn and desire the word of the Lord, understanding, answers, stability, but they're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get it. All right, but in any case, that was it on that. I just wanted to bring that out. Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. I linked the article in the description box, so should be able to get it from there. But with that, till next time, Shalom.